Now these are different organs that are involved in the in all the steps, right? Because the air will come from the lung here, right, and passes through the air passes through this area, right, and then it will come out through the nose or through the mouth. So all of these organs are involved in producing speech sounds. So can you label all these organs? What is number one? Number one is called, that's in the nose, right? In the nose. So we call that nasal cavity, right? So you can fill in nasal cavity. So if I have you diagram this photo on the test, on the quiz, you should be able to do it, okay? So number one, this is in the nose area, so we call it nasal cavity. And nasal cavity is important when you produce nasal sounds, right? The air has to come from the nose to do the nasal sounds, right? Number two is on your left-hand side. What is this appendage-like thing? Like in the back of your mouth. This is like the appendage, right? Appendage is a thing that hangs down. So what is it called? That part. Start with a U. Uvula, right? Uvula, right? Uvula. It can be raised, right? It can be raised against this back of the throat so that when it's raised, it blocks the air from coming up to the nasal cavity, right? Number three, where's number three? Number three is here. This is remember, it's a flap that would prevent the food from going into this trachea, right? And so it can close up this food pipe, this windpipe. So what do you call that flap? It's the flap that's above the glottis. So we call that epiglottis. Epi is above, right? Or beyond. So the glottis is here, so it's a flap that will close up the glottis, preventing food from going down the windpipe, okay? So when you swallow your food, the food will go the other pipe, which is this, right? Number four is the throat. The throat is, we call it, the medical term is pharynx, right? Pharynx, that's the throat. Okay. Number five, you know these two bands of membrane, what they are called, involved in the phonation process, making the sounds voice or voiceless. What are they called? The vocal folds or vocal cords. You can use whichever term you want. So the vocal folds or the vocal cords. And the space between the two bands is called the glottis, right? The open space between the two bands is called the glottis, so that the air can pass through the glottis. And then you have the epiglottis, which could close up that space, preventing food from going in, right? Number six is the different pipe, that's the food pipe, right? Where you, after you swallow up your food, the food will go down that direction. We call that esophagus, right? Esophagus. The food pipe, the foodway, right? So the esophagus connects your mouth, your throat to your stomach, right? And number seven, maybe it's not clear, the thing that, the pipe that leads the air, through the glottis, that's called the windpipe or the trachea, right? The windpipe. Connecting the lungs, right? Connecting the lungs with your nasal cavity and your oral cavity and so on, the trachea. So there are two pipes, the foot pipe and then the windpipe here. Number eight, that area is the larynx, right? The larynx, or the voice box. The common term for it is the voice box, right? And inside the voice box, you have the vocal cords, right? Number 9, that's what you can feel outside. That's your Adam's apple, right? Okay. And you should be able to fill in number 10 to 15 easily, okay? 10, you have this, this area is the bilabial area, so there are two lips, right? So lips, or the adjective form of it is bilabial, right? Bilabial. Um, 11 is teeth, right? You have upper teeth and lower teeth, and the adjective form is dental, right? Twelve is the area behind the upper front teeth. We call that alveolar. 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 13 is like the area connected to the alveolar area. We call that the hard palate. The adjective form is palatal, right? Palatal. And then this area which is like connected to the uvular is the soft palate, right? Or the velum, the adjective form of it is velar, right? I need another. The adjective form is velar, like that. And 15 is, of course, the tongue, right? So you should be able to label all these different parts that are involved in speech sound production, okay? And maybe the difficult ones are esophagus, pharynx, epiglottis, uvular, larynx, and I think that's it, or velum for you, okay? So that's what we looked at last time. And last time we also looked at consonant sounds, right? How you produce consonant sound, how you articulate consonant sounds. And we say that for consonants, they are, for all consonant sounds, they involve some kind of obstruction or blocking of the air. That's from last time, right? There must be some obstruction, there must be some blocking of the air somewhere in your mouth, so that when you produce the consonant sounds, the sounds are obstructed or the sounds are blocked, sometimes totally blocked or sometimes partially blocked. So, but there must be some kind of obstruction or some blocking of the air, okay? And consonants could be voiced or voiceless, depending on the state of the glottis, okay? And when you describe consonants, you need 3 descriptors. The place of articulation, where in the mouth you produce that sound, the manner of articulation, and the voicing. So only 3, okay? Place, manner, and voicing. Okay. Manner is how the sound is made. Is the air stopped completely, or is the air blocked completely, as in the case of stop? Or is the air blocked partially, like fricative, like that, right? Or is the air coming out through the nose, nasal sound, like that, okay? But last time I gave you a handout and we didn't get to finish that, right? Do you have that handout with you? Does anyone need a handout from last time? I asked you to do some of the questions on the back, right? Does anyone need a copy? Anyone else? Oh. Last, sorry. I can photocopy more. But this is from last time. So, can you tell me, number 2, we did number 1, right? Voice bilabel stop, that's the B, right? Number 2, a voice alveolar fricative, what is that sound? Z, right? Z, like that. Number 3, voice velar nasal, there's only one, right? When you do the 3-part descriptor, there can be only one sound possible, right? Voice, velar, so in the back, right? Nasal, the air comes through the nose, so it has to be either M, N, or N with the tail, right? This one is velar, so it has to be the N with the tail. So, ng, 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 iung sound, right? Number 4, voice palatal glide. There are only 2 glides, Y and W, right? W, W is the bilabial glide. So the palatal glide has to be Y, which is the Y sound, right? Some people say J, right? Same thing. This is N with the tail. Voice alveolar fricative. What is voiceless alveolar fricative, which is the opposite of number 2, right? So this is Z, so it has to be voiceless. It has to be S, right? And you should be able to do the opposite, which is to give me the descriptor, the 3-part descriptor. K is voice or voiceless? Voiceless. And it's inside, so it's V, velar. And then it's, the air is stopped completely, right? So we say it's a voiceless, velar, stop, like that, right? Okay? T-hook. So you can see it's a combination of a stop and a fricative. So it's an affricate, and is voiceless. It's made in the palatal alveolar area. Okay? Voiceless palatal alveolar fricative. Some people just switch this voiceless voiceless alveolar palatal fricative. Same thing. Okay? The voice counterpart of it is D and number 3. Okay? J, J. This is Ch, 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 J, right? Number 3, this one is voice or voiceless? Voiced. So VD is voiced. The place of articulation is palatal alveolar, same thing. And the manner is fricative, right? So you see that when, in number 2, when there's a stop before it, the manner changes to affricate. But without the T, it's just a fricative, right? Number 4, W is always voice, right? And what part do you use to produce it? What place of articulation? Bilabial, lips, right? And then it's glide, right? And finally, number 5, the D with the cross, with the stroke above it. This one is definitely voiced, right? And then you use, what place do you use? You use the tongue between the teeth. So it's interdental, and then is fricative, right? The opposite of it is the theta sound, which is the TH, voiceless. Right? So if you are able to do these, then you're fine. Easy, right? Number C, I give you some kind of explanation. Can you label the sound? The lips are together, so you use both lips, so it has to be bilabel. The velum is lower, so when the velum is lower, the air can pass through the nose, so it has to be nasal sound, right? The sound is voice, nasal, bilabial. The air passes through the nose, so what is that? Voice, all nasals are voice anyway. And then the sound is voice, and the air passes through the nose, and the lips are together, so you use 2 lips. So what might that be? M, right? M, right? Voice, bilabial, and then nasal, right? Correct? So bilabial, voice, and then nasal, right? The velum is lower. Number 2, the tip of the tongue is placed on the alveolar ridge. So the place then is alveolar, okay? So you got the clue. Alveolar. What else? The size of the tongue against the size of the hard palate. The soft palate is raised, meaning you don't have a nasal sound. So it's oral sound, not nasal. The pressure of the air builds up, and when the tongue is lower from the alveolar ridge, the air rushes out. The pressure builds up. So that tells you the manner of it, right? That it stopped. The air is stopped. So what do you have? Voice, whereas voiceless, do not vibrate, so it's voiceless. Voiceless, alveolar, stop. And that sound is, of course, a T. Right? Voiceless, alveolar, and then stop, which is a T. And it's oral too. Raised, which means oral sound, not nasal sound. Okay? So the explanation will give you some clues as to the label. Okay? Number 3, this part of sound is made with the tongue tip near the back of the alveolar ridge. So this has to be alveopalatal, right? And higher than for S and Z, the velum is raised so that the air goes through the mouth, so it's oral sound. They are continuous sound. Continuous tell you that is fricative. Because fricative, when you have a fricative sound, the sound comes out continuously, even though there's some friction in the air, right? Zzz, like that, or shh, like that. So the place is near the back of the alveolar ridge, meaning the next place, which is palatal alveolar, right? And it's a pair, so meaning you would have both the voice and the voiceless version. So you have the sh and the zh, right? So maybe this one is the most tricky one, but if you look at the descriptions here, the explanation, you should be able to find out the clues. Okay? Finally, this doesn't need a lot of artistic skills, but the sum. So you should, can you draw a diagram to show where the tongue is, where the vocal cords might be, what the vocal cords might be doing when you pronounce all of these sounds? So the R is more difficult than this, so let's do the theta. So the theta, what do you use? It's voiceless, right? And then it's fricative, and then you use the teeth, right? So it's interdental. So, so this is your nose, your lip, your teeth, and like that. And then your lower lip, your lower teeth, your tongue, like that. And this is gonna be your vocal cords. So, we use interdental, right? So I need to make some modification. So the tongue will be between here, between the upper front teeth and the lower front teeth, right? And the vocal folds do not vibrate. So there is like glottis there, right? So the air comes out there. And then, let's see. So this should be raised against, this is the uvula. So the air cannot go through the nasal cavity, and the air has to come out through the mouth, and the tongue is here. The air will have to be squeezed through this, right? Come out continuously because it's a fricative sound. Okay, so far so good. So I may give you a partial diagram where you just have to, let's say, make some modification to the tongue or whatever, right? So as in the next one, the V, so I might give you like this. And then like that. So in this case, the V, you use your lower lip against the upper teeth, right? So, so the lower lip will have to move up to here, and then the tongue will be here against the upper teeth, like that, right? And the vocal cords here will be vibrating, like that. So the lower lip is here, and the tongue is there, like that. And for the R sound, how do you do the R sound? The R is the liquid sound, right? When you do the R sound, you curl your tongue, right? So, another term for the R sound that you might see when you read linguistic literature is, retroflex. It's a retroflex sound. Retro is back, right? Retro style, for example, back history, like that. Flex is to bend, like flexible, like that, right? So when you produce the R, the tongue has to bend back, has to curl backward. So it's gonna be like this. Like that. The tongue has to like curl like that. So maybe not to that degree, but you know, there's some bending involved. There's some curling back of the tongue. So that like that. Maybe not to that degree, but there's some curling involved, okay? And you see that still, because it's a consonant, the air is blocked in some way. The air cannot come through this because it will hit the tongue. So it has to come out from like sides of the tongue or above the tongue. So that's why we call it liquid, because the air can kind of move around. So it's a liquid sound. Okay? So, so the test will be like this. So sometimes I give you the symbol, you give me the description. Sometimes I give you the description, you give me the symbol. And sometimes I ask you to draw the diagram for sound production. Okay? Now, we are done with the review. Today we'll go on and talk about a different thing, which is we'll talk about vowels. Vowels are totally different from consonants. And the reason why I talk about vowels today is that vowels are very confusing, and also different people pronounce vowels differently too. Okay? In terms of vowel articulation, all vowels are voiced. Okay? This is different from consonants, because for consonants, some consonants are voiced, some are voiceless, right? But all vowel sounds are voiced. So in this case, when we talk about vowel sounds, voicing is not important because all are voiced. So we don't use voicing as the descriptor for the vowel because all of them are voiced. Okay? Which means that your vocal cords will vibrate all the time when you pronounce vowel sounds. And all vowel sounds are produced without obstruction of air and manipulation of the tongue. In other words, this is different from consonants, right? Because when you pronounce consonant sounds, you have some obstruction of the air. But for vowels, no obstruction of the air. The air can pass freely, right, through the mouth. But the reason why you can make different vowel sounds is that the different parts of the tongue will make different vowel sounds. So when we describe vowel sounds, we pay attention to tongue only, not the lips, the alveolar ridge, or anything like that. But we'll describe the tongue mainly because we use different parts of the tongue to produce vowel sounds. And you can see that when we do different vowel sounds, as in this sound, he, disregard the H, right? H is consonant. So the I symbol, the IPA symbol, represents the sound E, he, E, like that, right? So the tongue here, the shape of the tongue is high, towards the roof of the mouth, towards the palate, you see? Whereas when you do the oo, as in who, represented by this U, okay? The symbol U, oo. The tongue is also high, but it's towards the back part of the tongue. So the back part of the tongue is high, but this one, the front part of the tongue is high. You can see the difference. He, so it's front and high. Who, back and high. And ha, so this is low, right? Back part and low. Back part of the tongue and low. When we do phonetics, we have to exaggerate our pronunciation just to see the difference, right? But he, who, ha, like that. So it's just different parts of the tongue and different heights, different levels of height of the tongue that will be involved in describing vowel sounds. Oh. So when you describe vowel sounds, we use 4 descriptors. Tongue height, and then frontness or backness of the tongue. Is it in the front, is it in the back, or is it in the middle, right? And tongue height, is it high, is it medium, is it low? Tenseness of the tongue, is the tongue tense or relaxed? Lip rounding, whether you round your lips or not, okay? For tongue height, the first factor for tongue height, you have 3 levels of height: high, mid, and low. So when you do high, when you do high vowel, when you do high vowels, the tongue body is raised towards the roof of the mouth, towards the hard palate. you have 4 sounds. These are IPA symbols, okay? Not spelling. So this is E, the little I, right? This is E, as in beat. The capital I is I, as in bit. Beat, bit, like that. They are both high. One is long, one is short. I know Korean doesn't have this distinction, right? You have just only E, right? Which could be E or I, right? So, but in English, we make that different. Beat, bit, right? They are both high. One is a little bit longer and more tense than the other one. Bit, beat, bit, like that. And then these 2 are also high, but in the back of the mouth. Ooh, 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 right? Ooh, right? Let's see. So, so this one is E, as in he, and then this little I is I, as in, let me do the full screen, as in hit, like that. So they are both high, but one is tense. Your tongue is tensing up. Your tongue is tensing up, whereas the other one, the I, is more relaxed. And this is a little bit longer. This is a little bit shorter. But when you speak English, you have to make that distinction because the difference matter. Okay? In Korean, you have only this E, right? Which doesn't make a distinction between whether it's tense or relaxed. Okay? And then the U, this is U, okay? Like this. And then the other one, it looks like a horseshoe. You know horseshoe? It looks like a horseshoe, the metal thing that you put on the feet of the horse, right? So it looks like a horseshoe. This is the shorter version, oh. So as in pull. And this one as in pull, like that. Pull, pull. So long, short, same thing. Tense, lax, like that. Okay? Both are high. Okay, going back to the slide. So, E, I, U, right? Boot, put, like that. And then the medium, the middle height, we call it mid vowels. We have the tongue body being in the intermediate position. So you have A, they come in pair. O, O, and okay? As in bade, bet, boat, bore, and but, like that. And then the low vowels are A as in bat, and then A as in bomb or ba, right? If you look at the, this is the square, let's see, we call that shape the trapezoid, right? You know trapezoid? Trapezoid. Trapezoid is like this shape. Not a square, not a rectangular, but this type of square. Okay, trapezoid. Okay? And that trapezoid is actually, believe it or not, is actually your tongue. So this is actually your tongue here. And then you have your mouth here like that. So this is your tongue. Actually, the trapezoid is your tongue. Okay? And you have different heights of the tongue, right? So the tongue is divided into like 3 heights that we talked about before: high, mid, and low. So the high vowels that we talked about are E, and then I, and then U and O, like that, right? The mid vowels are A, and then low, and then I is here, O and O are here. Okay? And if you want more examples of how the sounds are pronounced and what each sound, what each symbol represents, you can look at the second page of the new handout today. You see this table, right? Same thing. The top one is always the E sound. Heed. So the E sound is double E, spelled with double E, okay? Heed. And then the I, which is the capital I, is hid, like that. So I'll mark the distinction. So this is the E sound, this is the I sound. So high, mid, and low, right? So high, mid, and low. I think one is missing, but it's okay. You can add one more. The word head. Let's say, I don't know what it means, but. So this will be A, and then A, and this is, head is A, like that. So if you pronounce them successively, subsequently, one after the other, it would be heed, hid, hate, hid, had, like that. E, A, like that. So the tongue will come down from high to low, right? Heed, hid, hade, head, had, like that, okay? From high to low. So this is the E, A. So they are all the front sounds. And then in the back, this is who'd, like who would or who had, like that. So this is the oo sound, right? And the hood is u with the horseshoe. This is like the shirt with a hood, like that, with a hood. So it's hood. This is hood, hood. So just a little bit different there. And then hood, just the name of a person. That's o, hood, and horde. And this is hard and hard. Same thing. You don't need to recognize the difference between these because as you can see, they are plotted on the graph here very close to each other, so not much difference. So it's just hard, same. One is with the R, the retroflex, the other one without, but same vowel still, right? Actually, this is a spectrograph analysis where you see the frequency of sound wave like that. So, this is the representation of your tongue and where your tongue would be in terms of the pronunciation of each sound, right? And these are American, you can see American English vowels, right? And in the middle position here, you have what we call this sound. It's the backward E. We call that the schwa sound. I will refer to it as the schwa. Oh, where is it? Oh. It freezes, okay? What did I do? This is a schwa sound. Okay, I'll do it here. Schwa sound. Okay? S-C-H-W-A. I'll call it the schwa sound. It looks like the backward, the upside down E. That's the symbol for the schwa sound. Okay, like that. Is frozen. Sorry. Anyway, you can see that there is another chart, right, on the same handout. But that chart represents Australian vowel sounds. And you can see that the values of the vowel here are somewhat different from American English vowels, right? At least you can see that maybe the hud and the hard, they pronounce them differently, and the hod, they pronounce them differently, very differently from American English. So you can see that vowels show a great difference between two dialects of English, okay? The next thing that I would like to talk about, so we talked about height, right? So there's high, mid, and low. Now the second thing that we can use to describe vowel is there is three parts of the tongue. This is the front, and then there's the mid, and then there's the back. Front, middle, back, like that, okay? There are three parts of the tongue. So, so you have 9 cells, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 cells or so, right? So the front, what you use when you do the front part, when you use the front part of the tongue, would be producing e, like that, right? Different heights. And then the back part will be o, and a. And then there's one middle sound, which is this, which is the schwa sound, okay? So that's the second descriptor. The third descriptor is whether you have to round your lips or not. Only these 4 sounds do you round your lips. When you do oo, you see your lips have to be in a round position. Oo, still round. O, still round. O, still round. So this is like O in Korean, right? This is O in Korean, like that. And these two are U, like that, right? And A is sort of like like that, okay? More or less. Not same equivalent, not like that, but more or less, okay? So only 4 do you round your lips, okay? O, like that. But other ones, you don't round your lips, okay? So that is the third descriptor, right? Lip rounding, rounded and unrounded outside. The last one is the degree of tenseness, whether your tongue tenses up, whether your tongue tenses up or whether your tongue is in a more relaxed position. Especially in vowels with its counterpart, its pair. This second one will be relaxed, will be lax. So this one will also be lax, like that. This one will also be lax, like that, okay? And the ones without the pair, like head, it could be lax. And the schwa sound could be either lax or tense, depending on the syllable that it goes into. But so you don't have to worry about the ones that don't have the its equivalent. So when you want to distinguish the E from the I, the laxness or tenseness will come into place. Just only this pair, and this pair, okay? So you have 4 descriptors already. The height, the part of the tongue, and the lip rounding, and also the laxness or tenseness in maybe 3 pairs or so, okay? So today we talked about vowel sounds and how we produce vowel sounds, right? And Korean people should pay attention to the tenseness or laxness, especially this pair and also this pair, okay? Because in Korean you don't make the distinction between these and this, okay? Between the lax and the more tense one. What else? So I talked about the differences between Australian English and also American English already in terms of vowel sound. For the schwa sound, like this, sometimes you may see other people use this symbol upside down V, which is the same, okay? In this class, you just use the schwa for everything, Okay, it's the same as this, but this one people will use it in a stressed syllable. You know, English is a stressed language, right? Stressed time language, meaning some syllable has a lot of stress, like color, like this. The stress will fall on color, like that. So in this kind of syllable, people would use, this is K sound, right? Would use this symbol, schwa. But for our purposes here, just to simplify things, you just use the upside down E, which is the same. It's the schwa, but unstressed schwa, right? But we know that, you know, it's a stressed syllable already, so you can use this or that, same thing, okay? And some people even have this, like this, schwa with this thing. This is schwa with an R, as in, you know, color, like this. People would use it like that, with a little R above it. But when you do it, when you transcribe it, just use the R, simple R, okay? So, in other words, what I want to say is this for our class is equal to this, is equal to this one, and then sometime with a schwa, with an R, so it's like that. Okay? Same thing for our class. They are schwa, okay? Schwa with an R after it is just like schwa with an R. Okay. Now, let's try our hand at the phonetic transcription. On the new handout, if you have it, on the new handout, you have a new handout? On the new handout, in this, in the first table on the third page, right? We have 14 words in the left-hand column, okay? And I transcribe everything out for you, okay? You just have to try to pronounce it and see what that word is. So the first word is S, right? S plus E plus D. So try to pronounce it, S-E-D. So it would be said. What word do you think it is? Said. Like that, right? Said. Said. Past tense of say, right? Say, said, said, right? So said. So what might, so you know that the vowel is this one, the E, said, right? What might, where might the same vowel appear in column 1, 2, 3, or 4? There might be more than one word that has the same vowel, okay? Number 1, column 1, what's the vowel there? That's just the spelling, right? R-E-E-D, read. So the vowel is E, like that, read, right? Read. Okay? So it's a different vowel, right? So we don't circle that one. Number 2, how do you pronounce it? Weather, right? Weather. So it's, the vowel is we, right? And schwa, weather, right? Weather. So in this case, it shows the same vowel, right? At least in the first syllable. So we circle that, weather, right? Said, weather. And you know, when you read poetry, when you read poems, you know rhyme, right? Two words can rhyme. They can rhyme. One of the reasons for rhyming is because they share the same vowel. So said rhymes with we, right? Said and weather, for example, because they share the same vowel, right? Number 3, how do you pronounce it? Head, head. So the same vowel, right? Head. Like that, head. See? So it's the same vowel, so we circle that. Number 4, what's the vowel? We haven't talked about that one, sorry. I forgot. So these are, I'm sorry, these are what we call monophthongs. Monophthongs. Mono is one. Thong is vowel, right? So these are single vowels. Single vowels. Just one vowel sound, okay? One sound. What we studied is just one vowel sound, one monophthong each. But in English, there are three what we call diphthongs. D-I-P-H-T-H-O-N-G. We have three diphthongs. Diph or die. Oops. Diph, D-I-P-H-T-H-O-N-G. Diph or die means two. So when you pronounce a diphthong, you have two vowels in a row together, but pronounced as one syllable. I forgot to mention that. There are three diphthongs in English. I, ow, and oi. So you see two vowels in there, right? Two monophthongs in there. Ah and E. So when you pronounce them together, you have I, like that, right? I, right? I think in Korean is I, like that, right? I, bye, like that, bye bye, like that, right? So I, just one single syllable together, right? But there are two vowels, but pronounced as one. I. This one, au. So au, like that. Au, I. So together, right? Au. And then this one is oi, just as in boy, like that, right? Ow as in cow, I as in like I, like this, or even the word I, which means me, right? I, ow, oi, only three. Okay? I, ow, oi. So these are three diphthongs in English. I, ow, oi. Okay? So coming back to this practice, the word lie itself is a diphthong, right? So it's this sound, right? I. So it has to be lie, like that. So it is different from the test word that you have. So only number 2 and number 3 are the same. Okay? Let's look at number 2. The test word, how do you pronounce the test word? Hill, just short, right? Just like hill, like that. If you pronounce it long, it will be heel. This is heel, hill, like that, okay? Just like this word peel means to take out, to peel something, right? And then the pill, this is like drug, right? Yup, right? So peel, pill, peel, pill, heel, hill, like that. Or even H-E-E-L, heel, like that, okay? So hill, short. So number 1, word in number 1 column, how do you spell, how do you pronounce it? P-A-L, pale, right? Pale, which is this vowel, right? Pale, like that. So not the same, okay? Pale, ale, a, pale, right? Number 2, sit, right? Heel, sit, same vowel. So you circle that one, sit, which is the short e, right? Number 3, how do you pronounce it? Pleat, right? Pleat, which is the long, this one, pleat, like this, pleat, right? Pleat. So this is a long sound, the 10th sound, so not the same, okay? And number 4, how do you pronounce it? Tide, right? Tide. Time and tide wait for no man, right? Tide is like the current of water. So tide is a diphthong, tide, like tide, like that, right? So this is a diphthong, so not the same. So only one which is the same is number 2, right? Sit, number 2. Let's look at number 3. Number 3, how do you pronounce that word? That one is a diphthong, right? Oi, oi and l. So it's oil, right? Oil, right? So which of these has the same vowel? Number 1, boy, right? Number 2, what's the vowel? How do you say it? Gale, which means strong wind, right? Strong wind. Gale is this vowel. Gale. When you transcribe it's gale. Be careful, this is not gel, okay? The G here is g, so it's gale, okay? So if it's the word gel, the gel that you use to style your hair, we'll transcribe it like this, right? Gel, right? This is gale, okay? Which means wind, right? So it's a different vowel, right? Number 3, what vowel is that? Hate, hate. So it's this vowel still, right? Hate, when you transcribe it, hate, right? Hate, like that. Gale and hate, same vowel, but not same as the test word. Number 4, or, right? Or is this vowel. So not the same. So only one, which is number 1. Okay? Let's do number 4, and we can skip to number 2 down below. Number 4, how do you pronounce the test word? This is long E, so you have to extend your time of pronouncing. Not just steep, but steep, right? Steep. So you pronounce it like that. So steep, that's the word, right? Steep. Steep means high, right? Means high. It means high. So it's long sound. So which one of these has the E sound? Number 1, heap, right? Heap means like a pile of things, right? Heap. Number 2, tip is short, right? Tip is short E. Number 3, cream is also long, right? Cream. I think Korean would pronounce it like kurim, kurim, right? Kurim. Number 4, ceiling is also long, right? Ceiling. So it would be seal, right? Ceiling, like that, with it. Ceiling, right? Ceiling, like that, okay? So we don't use the C. There's no C in IPA system, right? Because we pronounce it as ceiling, so it has to be S, right? Ceiling, right? Ceiling. So just like this word, S-E-A-L, seal, which means to close, right? If it's a verb. To seal with a kiss, like that, right? Seal a letter, right? Sarang pyonji, right? Seal with a kiss. So seal, when you transcribe it, is seal, like that, right? So if it's sealing, you just add ing, so it would be ing, sealing, okay? So number 1 is the same, number 3 is the same, and number 4 is also the same as the test word because it has the E sound, right? Number 5, how do you pronounce it? It's the short, high short, this horseshoe thing. How do you pronounce it? Soot, right? Soot, right? Soot, right? Soot. The English word is S-O-O-T. What does it mean? It means the dust that you have from burning things. Okay, dust that you have from burning things. When you light a candle, for example, you will have some black dust, right? So we call it soot. Okay. So soot, soot. Okay. But B-O-O-T, that's a different vowel. That's boot. That's the oo sound. Longer. Boot, soot. Okay, it's different. Even though the spelling is the same, the pronunciation is different. So soot is the black dust. So it has the same vowel as pull, right? Number one, pull, 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 and soot. Number two is not. Number two is long, right? Pool, right? Number three, foot is short. So number three is good. Number four, put is short, is good. So 1, 3, and 4, like that. So can you do this at home? You don't have to turn in, but just circle, right? And then practice reading the phonetic transcription there. And for number two, you can do this at home also. There is one word that doesn't have a diphthong within a row. Okay, diphthong, I, ow, and oi. Only one word that doesn't have that. Number one, row one, for example. Die, is that a diphthong? Yes, right? I, right? So one is good, die is good. Development, is there a diphthong? No, so that one doesn't. But describe, you have that, right? I, as in describe, right? Describe. And divide, you have that as in divide. So you have the diphthong there. So only development doesn't have that. And in number three, I want to show that if you look up words in dictionaries and you look up different pronunciations of words in a dictionary, you have to look at the cover, the back cover, because they will give you the symbols that they use to represent sounds, especially vowel sounds. And no two dictionaries use the same symbol, okay? The same set of symbols. So you have to be careful. If you look at Webster, which is the second row, this Webster, you can see that whatever they use to represent the E, as in sleep, they use the letter E with some bar above it, right? You see that? Some of you might be confused when you look up words in Webster, because they don't use the IPA system. So you have to be aware of that when you check your pronunciation. And when you look at Longman, for example, which is a British company, so they will have British pronunciation, so they will use a different set of symbol. You see, when they represent the word sleep, they have the two dots. They have kind of the colon here, right? After the E, right? So you have to be careful of that too, right? So what we use is just this E. To represent sleep is just sleep like this, right? Sleep. Like this. Without any bar, without any dots, without any colons. We just use that, right? This is sleep, okay? So slip, the word slip, which means it's slippery, like that, right? It slips off. So that one in our system would be just short I, which is the capital I. But sleep, which means to lie down, right? So it would be sleep with this, right? With the a lowercase I, right? So slip and sleep. Sleep, slip, sleep, slip, right? One is longer than the other, okay? And you can check out the other differences between dictionaries as well. So when you look up pronunciations, you have to check what each sound represents, what each symbol represents, okay? And number four is the last thing. Can you transcribe the vowels in the following words? So you have to read it out first, and then just put the vowel in there. At this step, you don't have to do the consonants yet. So rude, for example, rude. So the vowel is this one, right? Oo. So when we transcribe it, we have rude. R-U-D, rude. So that's how we do it. You might notice that when I transcribe words, I use the slanting lines, like slash here and slash here, just to show that this is the IPA, not the spelling, okay? So whatever is in the slanting lines here, I call it slanting lines. Whatever is in the slanting lines is the IPA symbol, so you should read them rude, okay? And And this one, if it's in the slanting lines, how would you read it? You cannot read it as pen, right? You cannot say it is pen. No, because this is IPA, so it has to be pain, which is spelled like this, right? Pain, right? Pain, right? Apum, right? Apayo, apuda, right? So, and then pen would be the pen that you use to write, right? It would be pen like this, right? Okay? So whatever is in the slanting line is the IPA symbol, is the pronunciation. And when you don't put the slanting lines around, then that's the spelling or the letter sound.